Chances are, if you think of some of the easiest games to play, you'll often hear about the LEGO games. But that reputation isn't to disregard these games, as, especially if you grew up in the 2000s, you definitely played at least one or two of these games. Starting as early as the late 90s, the famous toy brand LEGO decided to dive into video games. And why wouldn't you? The concept of LEGO is practically built for video games. The idea of building things and endless creativity can definitely translate well. Now, when they first started out, it really was just original titles like LEGO Island, LEGO Racers, and so forth. But in 2005, one game completely flipped the terminal and the flow of LEGO games was changed forever. LEGO, damn it! Yeah, so for the level of I don't care I give to Star Wars, you gotta admit, without LEGO Star Wars, we would never have gotten some of these iconic LEGO games, some of which defining childhoods. This is the focus, with the exception of a few one-off games. Usually developer Traveler's Tales would take an iconic IP and give it the LEGO treatment. Indiana Jones, Star Wars, hell, even both LEGO movies got video games. Oh, come on, that's cheating! But that's the LEGO way, and it worked insanely well. The latest game they did was Horizon Adventures, based on the Horizon series of games, which... But the fact they've stayed consistent and continue to put out new games every year since 2005 is something to be talked about. When's the last time we've gotten a Sly Cooper game? Oh, don't remind me. So for this ranking, I took a look at 29 games available on the Steam storefront. Obviously, this didn't include every LEGO game. The title lied to you. Subscribe. So I'll quickly go through the games I wasn't able to play or decided not to include for one reason or another. Any game before LEGO Star Wars. These games were the foundation of LEGO games to come, but alas, they aren't on Steam, so yeah, not happening. Any LEGO game that released on mobile or handheld devices. LEGO Dimensions. This one hurts. I love this game growing up, but I can't judge off of nostalgia, and sadly, scalpers have made it so I can never play this game. I am not paying that much. I can barely afford rent. How do you expect me to afford LEGO Dimensions? LEGO Fortnite. I'm not including LEGO Island. Why would I include LEGO Fortnite? And finally, LEGO Horizon Adventures. No. And now, ladies and gentlemen, all sort of 29 LEGO games, ranked worst to best in my opinion.
You're the worst around. Everything's gonna bring you down.
Of all 29 games I played, I only really hated 3 of them. Past those 3, there were ones I didn't like, but for only 3 of the 29 games to be ones I dreaded playing, that's actually pretty impressive. With that, what could be the worst LEGO game? Well, have any of you heard of LEGO Brawls? It is a fighting game released back in 2022, and by all accounts, it is one of the laziest, most money-grabbing, pandering games in LEGO's lineup. I kid you not, I only recorded for maybe 20 minutes, because that's all I could stomach. The concept of this one is that you play as a character you make and fight other LEGO characters to gain control of certain areas on a 2D map. This is just lazy. I mean, you can tell by the lobby screen. LEGO saw Fortnite, didn't think to collaborate yet, they just made their own thing. Why is it 2D or 2.5D, whatever it is? It feels like it was made for mobile devices before. Oh my god, oh yeah, okay, this was made in 2019 for iOS first, so I don't have to talk about it. My rules, bitches, moving on.
They're remaking Indiana Jones without Harrison Ford.
The second LEGO game I really heavily hated was LEGO Indiana Jones 2. Don't get me wrong, I find the first LEGO Indiana Jones game to be fine, but the sequel is all kinds of unnecessary. I would just say it's LEGO Kingdom of the Crystal Skull, because even Traveler's Tales had to acknowledge the worst indie film existing. But that's not including that once you finish the first act of Kingdom of the Crystal Skull, a level unlocks for the first movie, and it's there you realize the game also has levels from the original trilogy. The films the first game is based on? Kinda seems redundant, right? Not even the last time LEGO did this. At least I got to witness the single dumbest Indiana Jones moment in LEGO. See, here it's supposed to be dumb. In the big budget Steven Spielberg movie? Well, it's still dumb, but I also regret watching it. The only thing that kinda saved it for me, I mean, it really wasn't even that big a deal, but the creator stuff is actually kinda cool. Even though essentially all you're doing is going through the level again, and reaching the end, you don't even look for the artifact you chose. They only show it at the end. Okay, I said it was cool, not good. But for being a game released in 2009, a LEGO game at that, this could have not even been in the game. But that's about it. This is purely nothing, and a kind of redundant game when you consider it's not even LEGO Indiana Jones 2, it's just the first game with a few more levels. What just happened? 9/11 for Indiana Jones fans.
Now shut up and drive.
I had a lot of high hopes for LEGO 2K Drive, despite not having developer Traveler's Tales behind the game, instead having 2K Games, obviously. The idea of a LEGO racing game where you could build your own vehicle, that is genius. However, the game really falls flat in one key element to any racing game. The racing. The driving in this game is so horrendous. I either don't turn enough or I turn too much, and I turn the game off. This is ass. I like racing games fine, but you gotta have good driving mechanics or the whole game is pointless. The drifting is the biggest issue, as I do feel the vehicle making mechanic wasn't awful, I just didn't know how to make anything better than. I kinda get annoyed by the drive pass thing. I was getting a little bit of live service-itis from this because I fucking hate live service. The worlds and tracks aren't even that bad, it's just the driving that makes this game, where you have to drive everywhere mind you, a total pass for me. I wanted to like LEGO 2K Drive, trust me, I love the concept, but I think 2K was the wrong company to do it. Do I think it would have been better if Traveler's Tales did it? Maybe, but overall, not a great game.
Welcome to LEGO World.
For the longest time, LEGO Worlds was considered the worst LEGO game. It was pretty negatively reviewed at the time, and to most people, it was just seen as boring and empty. And after playing it for myself, I don't think it's quite that bad, but it's still pretty bad. Essentially, it's LEGO Minecraft. You get a bunch of tools through the tutorial levels and can pretty much do whatever you want. Now, a few things kept this out of my bottom 3. The first thing is surprisingly how smooth it is to use the tools. I think the only tool I had a little bit of issue with was the copy tool. I tried to copy this lollipop structure and yeah, it didn't go too well. But the other tools surprisingly work very well and it never felt infuriating to use them. The discovery tool is surprisingly a fluent thing to use. If you do a quest for someone, you can pull out the discovery tool and get that LEGO figure. I also give credit, building isn't terribly hard to do. I feel like if 2K Drive took some inspiration from this game's building, it really could have excelled more. And come on, randomly generated worlds completely procedural? That's pretty dang impressive for 2017. But yeah, I can't deny that the worlds are almost completely empty. There's almost nothing going on, and when you do eventually find something, it's usually copy and paste stuff, nothing really fun. The best part is just exploring the worlds and finding little things. If you just go and do the gold brick stuff to progress, it's not fun. That being said, I can't say this is really awful, it just doesn't have too much to really recommend. If it had more in it, I think most people could agree this could have been the best LEGO game, given its concept. But no, it's nothing special. Also, the narrator sounds like the tutorial narrator for Little Big Planet.
The Discovery Tool. Use the powerful Discovery Tool to... You can also get jiggy and shake your sack.
Somehow Palpatine returned.
It's funny that as a guy who can't stand Star Wars, I can safely say the most consistent games in this series were often Star Wars games. That's very weird to me. Of all the 4 LEGO Star Wars games I played, the worst one? Well, of course it is. LEGO Star Wars The Force Awakens, because... necessary? Okay, the Skywalker Saga didn't come out for another 7 years after this game, so I doubt they even really planned that one yet, but especially considering nowadays where you have a LEGO game with all 9 movies included, it kind of makes this one outdated. That's not to disregard this, though I have to ask, I'm 30 minutes into this thing, this isn't The Force Awakens, this is clearly... Revenge of the Sith? I don't know. And I guess making the story of Force Awakens into a LEGO game is an inherently bad idea. I mean, it isn't the Star Wars film with somehow Palpatine returned. But I gotta say, this is some serious LEGO Indiana Jones 2 territory because I was wondering if I was accidentally just playing Skywalker Saga. And I guess the Force Awakens stuff isn't bad, it's just as standard a LEGO game as you can get. I do kind of hate that this game had multi-build before the LEGO Ninjago movie game because I thought that was really impressive there, but if this game introduced it, I gotta give it that credit. No other credit to give though, a pretty boring experience.
They're remaking Indiana Jones without Harrison Ford.
Okay, so LEGO Indiana Jones was one of the first LEGO games to feature a licensed IP, next to Star Wars and Batman, of course. And I don't know what it is about this game, but even when I first got my Xbox 360 complete with Kung Fu Panda the video game and this, I always wasn't the biggest fan of this one. I think at that point, I'd had been a bit more experienced with LEGO games, specifically Star Wars The Complete Saga on Wii, and this just didn't strike me as the same deal. And now looking at it in 2025, it's still nothing special. It's not bad, it's clearly got some great Indiana Jones stuff in it, including the funniest scene they could have translated to LEGO. Ha! But I don't know, I think the combat specifically ruined this for me. The early LEGO games kind of got infamous for having bad combat issues, where you could easily die over and over because the enemies don't recoil from your damage. A similar issue Funko Fusion had just last year. And yeah, this is rough, and it makes it so hard to get that 100% meter at the top by collecting studs. But the rest of it, God bless it, it is LEGO Indiana Jones. The best 3 movies are covered, there's a decent variety in characters. It's just not a great game, but I do argue it's better than the sequel and everything I've talked about so far.
What a bunch of hippy-dippy baloney.
Yeah, with the exception of the LEGO Batman movie, which apparently had some kind of mobile game instead, every LEGO movie had some sort of tie-in game. I mean, come on, you made a Lego movie and it didn't get nominated for an Oscar. You'd be crazy not to make a game. It's practically written for you. With that, the worst of these was definitely the Lego Movie 2 game. Not necessarily because it's bad, it's just kind of sort of standard. It has some really great ideas I'm surprised other Lego games after it didn't use, such as the Builder mode. You unlock different models throughout the game to help you complete the levels. I do wish the mechanic was a bit easier and more fluent to use, but it's cool and I really do hate that it's not been used in a whole lot of other Lego games. Other than that, it is a standard by the books Lego game, but to say it's a bad game just isn't true, honestly.
Confounded old Samwise Gamgee!
Lego The Hobbit falls into the same category as the last two entries, totally forgettable but completely harmless. Kind of like the actual Hobbit movies, the games for the most part play it completely safe. I legit have no notes other than the dish throwing minigame took fucking too long. Y'all taking forever on the one dish, you are never working in a 5-star restaurant.
I want to come. No!
As with the Lego Star Wars games, the Lego Marvel games seem to be the most consistent when it comes to quality, to the point where the worst one isn't even that bad. Lego The Avengers is an all-around boring experience, but I gotta give credit, it still has a decent variety. There's not a terribly big improvement over either of the other two Marvel games, and it's a bit short, but I found it okay overall. If you like the other two, I see no reason why you wouldn't enjoy this too.
Don't do it. I'm gonna do it, man.
Oh boy, I'm gonna get some son of a shit for this one. Lego Batman is kinda not great. Don't get me wrong, this one next to Lego Star Wars set the foundation of future Lego games, but in terms of the quality of the original Lego Batman, it's not bad, and maybe it's just because I played the Steam version, which I heard actually has some big issues in comparison to other versions, but this was almost infuriating to play. It's still classic, I mean, this is what I used to associate as Lego Batman, but for some reason, the combat issue from Indy translates right to this one. It seems a lot of the earlier Lego games had this issue. It's annoying. Like in the second level, most people know you're supposed to collect studs to fill the True Believer meter. In the early games, if you lose studs, you lose progress. So at level 2, I died so many times that I legit had 1,000 studs when fighting Mr. Freeze. But it really does look alright for a game released almost 2 decades ago. Before the movie, this was the design I associated with Lego Batman. I always loved that underneath the mask it was like a white visor around the head, that's pretty funny. For everything else, it's nothing special, but I can't say it's awful, I might have just had a rough experience. Hey Bruce, watch this. Don't do it, Robin. Robin's dead.
Your parents are dead! You have no family!
Okay, so I bunched both of these together as I had pretty much the same thoughts on both of them. With that, Lego Harry Potter both years 1 through 4 and 5 through 7 are pretty alright Lego games. They don't have too much that makes them special outside of one thing I found really cool, the way they build in this one. I like that it's different from a lot of the others where you build brick by brick. Here, you use Wingardium Leviosa. God, she's such a bitch in the first film. Really, if you want a goofy Lego version of Harry Potter, this does suffice. But it doesn't have much in it that really impressed me. I'd say the better of the two would probably be years 5 through 7, but both are completely fine. Hey Potter, I heard they were having a Mother's Day dance. Oh, sorry, your mom's dead. Avada Kedavra. What? Why didn't it work? It's Avada Kedavra, not Avada Kedavra. Oh shit. Avada Kedavra!
And I don't like Star Wars.
The third best of the 4 Lego Star Wars games was Lego Star Wars 3: The Clone Wars. This one covers everything in the Clone Wars and uses a lot of models from said Clone Wars. This one's a bit weird, but still really fun. I specifically remember the General Grievous battle from the DS version of the game, and this one is alright. Really, it doesn't have much that makes it unique, but let's just say a lot of these won't until, well, about right now. The Lego Movie video game really didn't have to have a lot of effort put into it. So imagine my surprise when I actually found it pretty fun. Pretty much every game from here on out I either really enjoyed, or in my top 5's case, absolutely loved. The Lego Movie video game has way more effort into it than it really needed. But that's a good thing, as the game has a lot of personality. Mind you, it's inspired by a movie that's already had a lot of personality in it. The levels are pretty fun, and there's enough surprises in each one to keep you invested. And hey, everyone on the voice cast of the movie came back to do this game. Though there's one issue that really bugged me here. Listen to the voice acting.
We've got to deal with these robots.
Sure. Oh yeah.
Man, Chris Pratt really needed a paycheck, huh? Specifically when Elizabeth Banks comes in as Wildstyle, she ain't putting no effort into it, man. But that being said, the whole game could have just been like that. And if that laziness only translates to the voice acting, I think it works alright.
Oh my god!
Okay, so Lego had a few small releases that they did this decade, and honestly, it kinda sucks they never get talked about that much. The lesser of the two for me was Lego Builder's Journey. The only reason this one is so low is that it does control a bit differently than a traditional Lego game, and it can get really difficult to control at times. With that said, Builder's Journey is such a simple, yet incredibly fun time. With a simple brick style, simple gameplay. If you just want a non-traditional, different game that'll definitely keep it light but alright, you're in for a treat with Lego Builder's Journey.
Welcome to Jurassic Park.
While LEGO Jurassic World does nothing really new, it's more impressive on how well they capture the nature of the films. Despite its name, this game doesn't just do Jurassic World, it also does the original film. Though this film has a really awkward problem that sadly most of these LEGO games had before they did more fluent voice acting. Care to guess what it is?
Shooter!
Yeah, they just ripped the lines right from the films. That's pretty lame. I mean, okay, it's not like the Lego Ninjago movie game or the first Lego movie game where they just rip scenes from the movie. But at that point, what's the point of animating these cutscenes? It could have just done what a lot of these Lego game cutscenes did at the time. That being said, it's fun to explore Jurassic Park, and the levels, while nothing spectacular, just ooze with Jurassic charm. If you like the movies, this is a really fun time and I recommend it. Hey Traveler's Tales, if you do Lego Jurassic World Dominion, there's gonna be a dinosaur turd on your front porch! The LEGO Ninjago movie game really surprises me. In the last video I mentioned that above all else, LEGO Ninjago's movie is definitely the worst LEGO movie. But with that said, I really liked it. So imagine my surprise when I really liked the LEGO Ninjago movie game. Okay, I do prefer they just made a full-on LEGO Ninjago game instead of just the movie, but for what we got, I really enjoyed this. This and one other game had really good combat. I mentioned certain games really fell flat with the combat and made them kind of tough to play. This one, it's so fluent and some of the most fun I have within these games. The levels are also very fun. I like the approach these levels take in comparison to other LEGO levels. It's just a fun time, but the levels can get a bit dragged out, so yeah, there's that.
Captain!
Yeah?
LEGO Pirates of the Caribbean really surprises me, as before this ranking I assumed it would just be in the same boat as LEGO Harry Potter or LEGO Indiana Jones. Almost a completely forgettable and overall just okay LEGO game. That being said, I really found it charming and keeping with the Pirates of the Caribbean tone. I do like that this was way before they did full-on voice acting in these, so they had to get a guy who sounded just like Johnny Depp. But they did a really good job. This guy does alright with the screaming. The levels are also very iconic and get the iconic scenes from Pirates of the Caribbean down pretty well. And overall, the humor and tone stay consistent to the movies. Are you gonna see me Lego dick? It may not be a totally perfect Lego game, but I found this a perfectly serviceable time.
And I don't like Star Wars.
When this game was coming out, I was really excited because I was a big fan of the complete saga. Despite my absolute lack of interest in Star Wars, the Skywalker saga really excited me for how big it was revving up to be. And when it released, I wasn't disappointed, except for one issue. I really don't like the lack of true believer. That's always been a huge thing in these games, and Skywalker Saga just kinda sucked it out. With that said, everything else is absolutely delivered. Yeah, I can't believe that for this franchise I don't care about, these movies I don't care about, and playing these events that, oh look at that, I don't care about, I actually found this really fun. It's not quite at the complete Sagas level, I do think that one had more staying power, but the efforts put into this one were completely unmatched. I was pleasantly surprised.
Bruce, it's been 5 years.
LEGO Batman 2 is a vast improvement over the first game. After the pretty botched playthrough I had of the first LEGO Batman, I worried this one would be in the same boat, but I really enjoy this one. It does two things really well: Gotham, and of course the introduction of the other DC heroes. Specifically Superman. I don't know why this cutscene makes me laugh. I feel like I've seen a meme voiceover of it.
Bruce, it's been 5 years.
It's not a total masterpiece, but I had way more fun with this than I did the first game. An almost complete 180 from the first, if you will.
Hide and seek.
Batman!
Next to Builder's Journey, Bricktales was also released as more of a one-off, and as one-offs go, I found it very charming. There's really nothing that new in it, but I really like the building stuff here, only because it is a total trial and error. You have to make multiple designs in order for it to work. Also, I love how this robot reacts. Oh, I'm just walking across the bridge and... It's small, but a very charming release. I just had to mention it in the top 10.
Coincidence? I think not!
LEGO The Incredibles really surprises me, as I hear a lot of fans don't really like this one. I couldn't figure that out. I found it really charming. The combat, like I said in Ninjago, is very fun and fluent. They have a lot of the same beats as Ninjago, but it still feels very fun to play. I kinda like that it literally starts the same as Incredibles 2. Actually, that's pretty much what this game is based on.
Undermine. We need it.
For what I was expecting, which was absolutely nothing, I was pleasantly surprised. Also, LEGO Elastigirl, don't worry, you being plastic ain't gonna change nothing.
And I don't like Star Wars.
Oh yes, the game that kinda started it all. Okay, so the actual LEGO Star Wars game came out in about 2005, and this one came out around 2007 or so. But to my knowledge, they're close enough to the same thing. This is the only older LEGO game that held up with basically everything it did, and it's pretty iconic. Playing through, at the time, all 6 movies, depending on what Star Wars fan you are, that's all you need. Somehow, Gonk Droid returned. The game has a lot of fun mechanics, and I do admit, I never played the 2005 version, but this one really holds up well. I give a certain respect to this one, as technically without it, none of the others would have even been made. It's a classic for a reason and holds up surprisingly well.
I want to come.
No.
Both the LEGO Marvel superhero games are some of my favorites, and the lesser of the two greats has to be the first game. While LEGO Batman 2 was technically the first licensed LEGO game to have voice acting, this one has some of my favorite voice acting. A lot of people in the community are a fan of them since it kinda helped the LEGO games lose their personality, but I really like the voice acting in this and the second game. I found the levels and character variety to be the biggest highlight. New York is very fun to explore, but because it's LEGO New York, it's a bit limiting. And Deadpool, I mean, come on, it's Deadpool. I love this one, but certain limitations just puts it out of my top 5.
I can't put down the cup. Can't put down the cup.
Confound it all, Samwise Gamgee.
To my surprise, LEGO Lord of the Rings almost keeps the exact tone of the Lord of the Rings trilogy. Yeah, I'm impressed there's only a few background scenes where they throw in the LEGO humor. For the most part, everything keeps it to the tense or light atmosphere of the original trilogy depending on the scene. A good way to show this was the level where you gotta avoid the ring wraith's view. If you step into it as Sam, Merry, or Pippin, they just go backwards, but if you step into it as Frodo, you have to mash B in order to get out. It's got a lot of little charms like that, and I do admit it has the LEGO Jurassic World problem where they just ripped lines from the movie, and it can be a bit awkward, but I'm just glad they featured the single greatest line delivered in these movies.
Confound it all, Samwise Gamgee. Have you been eavesdropping?
No joke, I just kept saying stuff like that the more I played this. Confound it all, Samwise Gamgee! Have you been going into the cornfield again? Confound it all, Samwise Gamgee! Have you been digging up dirt to find convenient items for your quests? Confound it all, Samwise Gamgee! Have you been growing oversized flowers to use as platforms? Have y'all seen that blooper where Sean Astin messes up his line so he just says he wants a close-up and Sir Ian McKellen just pushes him over the table? That shit had me laughing for a good hour. The rest of the game completely keeps the tone of the films, and that immediately earned my respect.
I want to come.
No.
For everything I loved about LEGO Marvel Superheroes 1, Marvel Superheroes 2 is an almost complete improvement. Starting with the map, the only issue I had with the first game is how limiting New York was. Here, they have multiple different areas combined into a lengthy map. And yes, next to Skywalker Saga, this game has the biggest roster of characters at about 300 characters, I believe. The variety is insane here, and DLC only made it bigger. That is one thing I kind of always hated with these newer LEGO games though, the implication of DLC. But if you can look past that, alongside of the threat of Kang people can actually take somewhat seriously, LEGO Marvel Superheroes 2 is not only a vast, but total improvement over the original.
Maybe I should cook myself. No, don't do that!
It's crazy how much better each LEGO Batman game got. That's crazy to think because I didn't even hate the original, I just had a bad time with it. Yeah, I admit, the first LEGO Batman is only ranked so low because I suck at it, but that all changed with LEGO Batman 3. This is a really fun game. From the plot, to the levels, to the visuals, everything is completely turned around from even LEGO Batman 2, which I really liked. The suits here feel at their peak with some we've yet to see in these games, and the way we use them is also very fun. If anyone has ever had issues with the first LEGO Batman, I usually show them this because it is worth it to get through these games just to get to this. I say with the exception of the first game, the LEGO Batman games are surprising hits with me, honestly. If you like the first two, I'd say you'll love this one.
I'm the Joker, baby.
Yeah, the best LEGO DC game wasn't even based on Batman. LEGO DC Supervillains is a damn surprising masterclass. With easily the best character creator in any of these games, a fun variety of villains to play as, and hey, the Justice Syndicate being the antagonist, that's pretty good. I always like the aesthetic of this one. Something about the way it looks just screams that this is a game about the Joker, baby! Even if it's completely unnecessary, I found LEGO DC Supervillains to be a surprise, and a pleasant one at that.
Commissioner Gordon, Batman's on the line? Hey, Gordon. Hey, Gordon, I heard your daughter's into art. That's kinda cool. You know what I did for her? You know what I did for her, Gordon?
What did you do for her, Batman?
I commissioned her, Gordon. Get it? I commissioned her, Gordon.
Batman, it wasn't funny the first time, it certainly isn't funny the 20th time! Batman, Joker escaped again! How many times do we have to catch this clown?
Maybe you should consider better security at Arkham.
And you should consider getting bitches, I'm hanging up. I legit can't put anything higher than this. This is one of the most expansive, charming, legit fun LEGO games out there. And the fact is, it's technically not based on a pre-existing IP. I mean, okay, Chase McCain and LEGO City existed before this one, but technically, this was an original story in the original world with nothing to go off of. And yet, it is one of the single most charming and original games in LEGO's lineup. Chase is obviously a very likable protagonist, and the world is just so fun to explore. The plot keeps you interested. The minute they introduced this girl who apparently Chase hooked up with but had to go into witness protection, I knew this would be an interesting plot. It's the closest thing that reminded me of the original LEGO games before LEGO Star Wars, just a charming world with fun characters to interact with. It's a big, expansive, and fun game with great things to do. It is to me the most fun LEGO game, and for that, it's at the top of my list. With that said, I have one more thing I need to do. Your mom. Good night, everybody.